Good afternoon to all our life sciences learners out there. And to think it's our very last life sciences presentation for the year, for 2016. But by now you all know me, Colin Oppold, and with me.
Lorraine King. I'm from Huguenot High School and my friend from New Orleans. And it's amazing to think, yes, Colin, as you said, it's the last opportunity that we have to work with our matric learners. We hope you're here in big numbers. We know that you're busy with your September exams. So without any further ado, let's start. And our topic today, sense organs and homeostasis, Colin.
Yes, and I find it very strange that our learners still struggle with sense organs and especially the homeostasis. But
it might be that they think it is so difficult and that they have this mental block about sense organs specifically. And with what we're going to do today, we're going to take the essence out of these topics and help you to know what exactly to study and look at.
Right, we're also going to try and show you certain slides, how it might be asked in a question paper for your final exam. Not that those specific questions might come in, but these questions come out from previous papers, past papers. So, yes, you have to practice.
And they have all the information that we show on the screen now, or that will appear on the screen soon. They have that in the handout that they got from the department, the telematics handout.
Yeah, if I can just show them here. Here you have your telematics 2016 one. And if you look at that, page 22 is the sense organs that we're going to do and the presentation for today.
So if you cannot read all the labels that well on that picture, or that will be on the screen soon, just go and refer to your presentation. So what you have there, Colin, is a longitudinal section, in other words, from front to the back of an eyeball.
Right, and what they should know is the structure of each and every part and the function. Now, I'm going to show you another type of one because the eye has 3 layers, and from the outside to the inside, and if you look at one another now, you'll see the white section of the eye, and that is the sclera, and that is the tough outer layer. It's white, and but in front it is clear and transparent to form the cornea. So the cornea forms part of the sclera, and keep that in mind because that is the part that you can see through.
And should you try to touch your cornea, and please don't, it will hurt, you won't be able to touch your cornea directly. The cornea is covered by a membrane, the conjunctiva. That's the one that has an infection when you have pink eyes, when you have conjunctivitis. But yes, the front part of the sclera then completely transparent and convex. It plays an important role in seeing, as we will discuss later. And apologizing in advance, I have a cough, and every now and then you'll hear me bark off to the side.
Right, now to know the layers and to identify the layers, that's not enough. But you should also know what is the specific function of each of these layers. So make sure that you know each and every part of the structure of the eye, the layers, the sclera on the outside, as we've said now, and that is now to keep that nice round shape of your eyeball. The choroid, that is the vascular layer, which means the layer that contains all your blood vessels and the nerves, and they provide the eye, you see. You first identify, and then you have to give the function of it. It provides the eye with nutrients and oxygen. And then the most inner layer, that is the retina. And that is the layer, very important layer, that contain all our photoreceptors. And that is where our sight is being, or the receptors of
sorry
sight
about that. The retina, of course, the photoreceptors are specialized nerve cells sensitive to light. That is where the photo comes from. Now, it's not only important that you know the structure of the eye as seen from the side in a section. You can also be asked questions about looking at the eye from the front, because one of our very important processes you will see when you look at somebody in the eye.
Yes, and that one on the left-hand side there for them is just a little bit different because it's more to a three-dimensional type that you can actually see. Because if you look, for instance, at this part that gives the color to the eye, that is the iris. And I hope you can see the little,
Yeah, there's the
there you
arrow,
can see,
yes.
yes. But from the side, can you see there's the color section? But if they don't give you a 3D, you only see that section over there. So now you can actually see where the iris is, because there it continues. But they only show you in a longitudinal section that part. And then the pupil, you can see, is that in the inside of the iris. That's just a hole. And that is the hole that you see there between the iris here at the bottom and the iris, because it is round with this hole, and the hole is the pupil.
And it's black because no light reflects out of the eye.
Yeah.
And we can only see with light. So it's not a structure, it is a hole. And it's important that we know the structure, but we're going to continue. There's a question.
Yeah, and I've been looking for some diagrams so that they can have a frontal view as well as a side view, the longitudinal section through the eye. But what is significant and what learners mostly miss out on is, look at the question. The question there says, give the letter and the name. And normally these type of questions, you score 2 marks, or you lose at least 1 if you only give the letter or you only give the name.
Read carefully.
And that is why I've inserted this, because we always find that learners, they either forget or they don't read properly, and there you have a frontal view, side view, and now you have to identify the letter, and you need to give the name of that part of the eye that protects the delicate inner layers of the eye. There's another question, the letter and the name that regulates the amount of light entering the eye. And can we just stop there for a minute?
Yes.
Because that is also one of the questions where learners are very confused. Because remember, and this is the part of the eye that regulates the amount of light that enters the eye. But the pupil is not the answer, because the pupil is only a hole, as we said earlier, and it only allows light to enter.
Yeah, light is regulated, the light that enters the eye, by regulating the size of the pupil. So it's not the pupil that regulates the light, it is the structures that will cause the pupil to grow bigger and smaller and narrower. In other words, in the iris, you've got muscles, different types of muscles responsible for that. And Karin, you've touched on something very important, the confusion with questions.
Yes, year after year we see that learners, they are confused with that one. And then the letter, so the letter, if we should go to that. Now that we know it's the iris, you see, you need to know the parts of the eye. So you have your iris, and the iris is numbered number A, and there you have it. So it's A and iris. You see 2 marks, 2 answers that's required, so you need to do. And the letter and the name of the part that contracts to change the shape of the lens. And there we have it. And I think I've cut off a section of that one there.
No, it's D.
Where,
It
It is there.
Yeah, no, it is there. I
Sorry.
can see it. It's
Okay.
D.
It's a little bit far for me, you know.
Yeah, we've got a new system, yes, so Colin can't see so well. It's the letter D, in other words, the ciliary muscle. Once again, it's not the lens that changes its shape. The shape is changed by the muscles contracting and relaxing. And I think that is the catch with this question. Not just that you read carefully and remember to give a letter and a name, but also the question itself is more difficult than one can think at first glance. So you have to think carefully. And then the last one, what is protected by the conjunctiva? I've just referred to it. Yes. So you will have to give, it's F. There at the bottom you will see it's the cornea, and then it's protected by the conjunctiva. So yes, that is one of the type of questions that you can get. It's simply based on structure, knowledge, and a little understanding.
Yeah.
Right, let's continue to the next slide.